The Honorable Reverend Leroy Leopard is at the Leopards News Network Acre Desk today. He's back after an extended vacation. We are happy that he is here delivering the news. So many faces that are getting eaten. Corporations' faces are getting eaten. Farmers' faces are getting eaten. It's wild out here. Thankfully, we have Reverend Leopard delivering the news. Some of these MAGA voters are now seeing that Donald Trump is not, in fact, America first. This MMA fighter, Sean Strickland, made a tweet saying, "Man, if Trump keeps this BS up, I'm about to start waving a Palestinian flag. American cities are told, and you want to go spend billions on this dumpster fire? Did we make a mistake? This ain't America first." This happened back in June of last year. Sean Strickland shouts out Trump in a post fight victory speech, saying, "Trump, you're the man. It's a damn travesty what they are doing to you. I'll be donating to you." And now he's seeing he's donated to a con man. Someone made this comment and gave this award, the Fell For It Again award. And at the bottom says, "Trump voters are the dumbest MFers alive, unfathomable." Apparently there is a subreddit called Project 2025 Awards. And this person made this post saying, "Just gave out my first award at the pharmacy." It says, "A patient who had always come in with a MAGA hat comes in and needs her insulin, but insurance stopped covering it. They cover a different type of insulin now. She asked for us to fill it how we did last time, with a $35 price cap. I quickly let her know that the price cap has been removed by the current administration. She paid $35 for 3 pens last time. Now she's paying $78 for 1 pen. She seemed upset at us, but still didn't understand the consequences of her action. Oh no. Unfortunately, I wish this only affected his voters, but it was nice to see it affecting one of his voters for once. Maybe some more pain and she'll learn." The last field date with the $35 price tag was 1/16/2025. Oh no, so sad. Under this particular post, it says, "I know it's unprofessional and unethical, and you can't, but it'd be nice if you could get little 'I did that' Trump stickers with the arrow to slap on the receipts with the increased prices." Then Smoothie says, "Absolutely unprofessional, but that would be so satisfying." Blind Joe Death says, "Can you post a flyer in your pharmacy tactfully explaining this when people ask? She won't be the last." Something like, "Due to policy changes by the Trump administration, price caps on insulin and other drugs are no longer in effect. Unfortunately, people don't seem to read signs." Canada is out here standing 10 toes down to their boycott of American products and traveling to America. So this one's titled, "Possible Trump Made Catastrophe for State That Voted 65% for Trump. Devastating to my state. Why Trump's newest tariff threats promise catastrophe for Kentucky bourbon." And at this particular point, I do not believe that these are threats. People are just taking him at his word, especially with how erratic he's been behaving. Canada is the number 2 export market for the U.S. distilleries after the European Union. All right, this article is from the Toronto Star. It says, "The last time that Trump introduced tariffs on imports of foreign-made steel, American whiskey makers stumbled. But the plan he announced on Sunday to once again impose 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum coming into the United States could be spirit-crushing for the drinks industry, both figuratively and literally. These tariffs," Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear told NBC on Tuesday, "would be devastating to my state." Kentucky's bourbon distillers, the inheritors of a long and proud American tradition dating back hundreds of years, already know too well the impacts of getting caught in the crosswinds of Trump's disruptive and disputed international trade policies. They were among those who felt the impacts of American steel tariffs introduced in 2018 when Trump cited national security reasons for artificially increasing the price of imports. Canada and Mexico were initially exempted from the measures while officials tried to reach a deal with Washington. But by May of that year, their steel and aluminum products were also subject to a 25% tariff. Canada responded within a few weeks, slapping retaliatory 25% tariffs on U.S. steel and aluminum products entering Canada. But Ottawa also imposed lower 10% penalties on dozens of other American goods, including maple syrup, mayonnaise, toilet paper, sleeping bags, and whiskey. Other major export jurisdictions also impose tariffs on varying degrees on American liquor, including China, the European Union, and Turkey. The impact on future plans and potential business partnerships was quick and devastating. One Virginia based rye whiskey producer who was in talks with a British producer to expand into the UK market likened it to getting ghosted by a girlfriend. He just stopped answering the phone, Catoctin Creek Distillery's Scott Harris told the Washington Post in 2019. The Canadian and Mexican retaliatory tariffs were in place for an entire year before a deal was reached to end the steel and aluminum dispute. It was a relief for U.S. distilleries for whom Canada was the number 2 export after the European Union, according to Distilled Spirits Council of the United States. The agreement was particularly welcome in Kentucky, where bourbon and spirit production is a major economic driver that employs some 7,000 people and has an estimated total economic impact of $1.63 billion. Key to that success is Canada. Listen to this part. Kentucky distillers sent more of their whiskeys and other spirits north than to any other country. Exports to Canada were valued at $90 million, according to a 2024 report by the Kentucky Distillers Association. So if Canada keeps up this boycott of American products, this is going to tank these companies. Now let's talk about how deportations are harming farmers. We've already talked about how they're pulling funds from farmers. They're also trying to bankrupt them by pulling their labor. It says we'll all have to go vegan. Wisconsin dairy farmers fret over immigration crackdown. John Rosenau, a Wisconsin dairy farmer, says that if Donald Trump deports all undocumented aliens, Americans will have to get used to a whole new diet. If there's no immigrant labor, there's no milk, no cheese, no butter, no ice cream, the dairy farmer said. We'll all have to go vegan. Rosenau's farm in Wamandee, western Wisconsin, is almost entirely reliant on foreign workers. The United States president pledged to initiate the biggest deportation plan in American history could, he said, destroy that workforce and threaten the future of his farm. I had a lot fewer worries before Trump got elected, said the 75-year-old who has openly campaigned against the policy. We're in a whole new world now. Trump has made immigration reform a cornerstone of his second presidential term. Immediately after being sworn in, he deployed troops to secure the southern border, citing a national emergency. In a flurry of executive orders, he also paused the resettlement of refugees, expanded the pool of undocumented immigrants subject to fast-track deportation, and ordered the enlargement of facilities to detain illegal aliens. He has also spoken of sending federal officers to round up and remove thousands of people deemed to be in the United States without permission. The moves have gone down well with Trump's base, but business groups are expressing concern about the impact they will have on the agricultural sector, which they said could not function without immigrant labor. The dairy industry is particularly vulnerable. Produce growers can recruit legal seasonal workers to harvest fruits and vegetables under H-2A visa program for temporary farmhands, but there's no such system for dairy farmers, which require workers to milk cows 3 times a day all year round. It's no wonder then that rural Wisconsin, a thinly populated state with 3.5 million cows that is nicknamed America's Dairyland, is bracing itself for the coming immigration crackdown. We support the deportation of criminals, but we need to secure a labor force for Wisconsin, said Tyler Winslav, head of government relations at the Wisconsin Farm Bureau Federation in the capital, Madison. The thing is, Trump and them have said that basically if they are here illegally, even if they haven't committed like crimes like murder, robbing, blah, 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 they're still criminals. So they are rounding people up, even if they are just literally here working without papers. So these people are going to be fretting. And why would they stay if they could leave? Many undocumented laborers had, he said, worked on the same farm for years, sent their children to local schools, and become part of the fabric of rural Wisconsin. And now they might get shipped back. It's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess. But I wonder how many of these people voted for Trump. Trump is out here doing a bunch of useless stuff, just just dumb stuff. Like what the heck is bringing back plastic straws and naming the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America going to do for anything? Like lowering grocery prices or fixing the housing shortage or anything. What is that going to do for the American public? I don't know. But he put out this executive order. I will be signing an executive order next week ending the ridiculous Biden push for paper straws, which don't work, back to plastic. He's also announced that he is signing or demanding that penny production stop. He's doing things that are just utterly ridiculous. But this person, Easy Money 777, says, Sir, what about lowering the prices for groceries? You said you were going to lower the prices for groceries, and that's why I voted for you. I didn't vote to change straws or take over countries. Lower the prices of groceries, do your job. These people are pretty pretty respectful in how they're talking to him, but they were not so respectful when they were talking about Kamala Harris or anything like that. They made it like Kamala Harris, as a vice president, was solely responsible for the economy, but they are not coming after JD Vance for some strange reason. Why isn't JD Vance fixing anything? I don't know. It's very odd. This tariff roller coaster is going to continue to impact many industries. The car industry is definitely, I'm not sure how it's going to impact builders and, home builders and business builders and all of that kind of stuff, but it's going to impact all of us. Yay. All right, it says GM expects to mitigate up to 50% of potential North American tariffs, which Ford describes as chaos. Key points. GM believes it can mitigate up to 50% of potential North American tariffs threatened by Donald Trump on imports from Canada and Mexico, CEO Mary Barra said Tuesday. That includes GM potentially avoiding short-term impacts between 30 and 50% of additional costs without deploying any capital. Earlier in the day, Ford CEO Jim Farley said Trump and the tariff threats are causing chaos for the automotive industry. Before I get into the meat of the article, I do want to remind us all that both GM and Ford contributed $1 million each, along with vehicles, to Trump's inauguration. So I'm just putting that out there that they did support Donald Trump. Executives with both have confirmed that they talked with Trump about the auto industry. So they were trying to garner favor, but they still were supportive of Trump. And this is what they can expect from him. All right, let's get back to this article. It says the chief executive said the Detroit automaker has contingency plans ready for if tariffs are levied on auto parts and vehicles coming into the United States from the two neighboring countries. That includes potentially avoiding short-term impacts of between 30 and 50% of additional costs without deploying any capital. We are prepared, Barra said Tuesday during a Wolf Research investment conference. When we know exactly what's going to happen and or even have an indication of what's going to happen, we know the steps we could take. GM CFO Paul Jacobson, who appeared with Barra, added that if tariffs were prolonged, the company could take additional measures such as shifting production or parts or vehicles. The comments are the most detailed yet of how GM believes it could reduce the impact of tariffs after investor concerns about the issue weren't addressed during the automaker's quarterly earnings call 2 weeks ago, sending the company's stock down by 8%. GM has some operations in Canada with more substantial production in Mexico. That includes many of its lower-priced electric vehicles as well as its highly profitable full-size pickup trucks. Barra's comments followed crosstown rival Ford Motor CEO Jim Farley saying Trump's tariffs, whether implemented or threatened, are causing chaos for the U.S. automotive industry. Farley described this week's 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum, as well as threatened levies of the same amount on Mexico and Canada, as currently adding a lot of cost and a lot of chaos to the industry. Trump has talked a lot about making our U.S. auto industry stronger, bringing more production here, more innovation in the U.S., and if his administration can achieve that, it would be one of the most signature accomplishments. Farley said separately during the Wolf conference. So far, what we're seeing is a lot of costs and a lot of chaos. Farley and incoming Ford CEO Sherry House said a majority of the company's steel and aluminum are domestically sourced. However, there are suppliers to the automaker that source such materials from outside the country, which could have an impact on costs. Barra noted GM is evaluating the impact of the steel and aluminum tariffs on its business, but said the company sources a significant amount of both from the U.S. In the short term, she said GM also has fixed prices on such purchases. So once again, both GM and Ford contributed $1 million each, along with vehicles, to Trump's inauguration. Trump has signed a flurry of executive orders. Trump is just making proclamations via his Truth Social. He's holding press conferences and he's golfing. I don't know what of all of these actions in the past 3 weeks has helped anything with the economy. He has done more to harm people. He's harming people's jobs, livelihoods, businesses, the American people with all of these executive orders. I do not know how he is helping people, though. So if some MAGA supporter can chime in on all of the things that Trump is doing to help Americans, that would be amazing. Real quick, before I get out of here, I asked AI to talk about the Great Depression and give me some points as far as the Great Wealth Transfer. And this is what it said. Just listen with your ears and think about it in terms of what we are seeing today. The Great Depression, which began in 1929, is often described as a significant period of economic turmoil that led to widespread unemployment, poverty, and hardship. Please remember that Elon Musk said that we're going to feel some hardship. So they're pushing towards this. They're firing people left and right. They're increasing the prices because of tariffs. They're taking away funds for people. So I'm sorry, let me get back to this. I'm gonna start over without the editorializing right now. The Great Depression, which began in 1929, is often described as a significant period of economic turmoil that led to widespread unemployment, poverty, and hardship. While it did result in substantial losses for many individuals and businesses, it also created opportunities for wealth transfer in certain contexts. In particular, the Great Depression shifted wealth in several ways. Consolidation of businesses. Many small businesses failed, allowing larger corporations to acquire assets at lower prices, leading to increased market concentration. Number 2, land ownership changes. Many farmers lost their land due to inability to pay debts, leading to land being sold at distressed prices, often to wealthier buyers. Number 3, stock market dynamics. Wealthy investors who could afford to buy stocks during the downturn often benefited when the market recovered. Number 4, government policies. The New Deal programs and policies sometimes favor larger industries, allowing them to gain an advantage in the economic recovery. So let's think about the farmers. We've talked about the farmers. They're losing funding that was promised during the IRA, or what was it, the Inflation Reduction Act, that Trump came in and said, nope, do away with that. U.S. aid, which was it propped up farmers. They're like, nope, let's be done with that. These people are coming in, slashing all kind of things, and they're going to drive these people in these businesses to bankruptcy, so that the oligarchy that has millions and millions of dollars can come in and buy these businesses at basement level prices. So let's think about it. We're going to have people losing their jobs. We're going to have desperation. We're going to have, what are we going to see? They are driving us to a depression. MAGA voted for a depression. MAGA voted for a depression. This is what they want to see. People can't afford their medicine. People can't afford to pay their bills. MAGA and Trump are driving us to a depression. I hope you MAGA voters are happy. A couple of days ago, I shared 2 videos. One was from a younger farmer named Skylar, who said that his farm funding had been stripped and he was at risk of losing his farm. He did vote for Trump. And because of this and because of this video, it made tons of people swoop in and start saying, FAFO, this is what you voted for. But then there was this older farmer named Will Westmoreland, I believe his name was. He came in and he's like, he's not going to talk about, FAFO and all that. He was very mature. He was much more mature than I am. And I love that. Some people need to be like that. But people were wondering if the younger farmer saw the video and if he responded. And he did. And this man, I'm going to share two of his videos because some of the things that he said is reality, is very much reality, and how our algorithms do feed upon each other and keep us inoculated in a bubble. And he did admit that he wouldn't be listening to all these outside voices had his farm not been impacted. So I have two videos from the young farmer right now. Please go ahead and watch and let me know what you think.
I know you guys don't want to do me any favors, but I'm asking that you actively listen to the things that I'm getting ready to tell you. And that's something I can tell you I've not always been good at, is actively listening. But in my messages, I have been actively listening and actively having conversations with people based on politics. So please listen to what I'm saying before you react, and please understand where I'm coming from whenever I tell you this. So, you keep saying that we told you this is coming, we were screaming at the top of our lungs, now you got to fuck around and find out. What you don't understand is the way that TikTok works and any social media works. The FYP is made up, it's an algorithm that keeps showing you stuff that you interact with. So just because you're posting something doesn't mean that I see what you're posting, because it's not the stuff that I'm interacting with. So I hope that explains why I'm not seeing, and why a lot of people aren't seeing the stuff that you guys are posting. There's a lot of people that are willing to listen to you, but whenever you get in the comments and you say, fuck around and find out, or I hope you lose your farm, or just anything hateful, it takes that whole group of people and you shut them off, and they no longer want to listen to what you're saying. Does that make sense? Everyone acts like everybody's either far left or far right, when the majority of America is in the middle. I've explained this to a couple people that message me. It's like having two abusive parents. You got the Democrat mom and the Republican dad, and both of them just hate each other. They absolutely hate each other, and we're just the children in the middle. We're all just trying to get along, and sometimes you side with mom, sometimes you side with dad. At the end of the day, it's us together, and they both fucking hate us. So that's what I'm trying to explain to you, is that's the us versus them. But what you guys are saying is, well, you didn't vote the way I did, you didn't want to listen back in November. Well, nobody was hearing you because you're not on our FYP, and this is an opportunity that you guys are fumbling, because there's people that are willing to listen to you. I have 40,000 followers that we're farm talk. We have nothing to do with politics. We don't do politics, but there's people that are willing to listen. I'm speaking out about what's happening to me, how the negative effects of Trump's signing the executive orders has affected me, but you guys are shutting it out because you're overwhelming the comments with the fuck around and find outs and the hoping of failure for other Americans. And then at that point, all of my followers, they want nothing to do with anything that you're saying, because you're just hateful people. And it's not because you're left, it's just because you're being hateful. And that's why a lot of people don't listen to you. And that's the way I am, because if I get in these comments and you're being hateful, I just don't listen. And that's with any topic. It's not just me, it's any topic. If you're being hateful, nobody wants to listen to you. And that happens both on the left and right. And that's where people need to come together and understand that nobody's going to listen to either side if you're hateful with the things that you're saying. And I do want to say that I do appreciate the people that are having the constructive conversations with me, like Will Westmoreland. If you guys haven't seen his video, please go watch his video. That's the conversations that we need to be having. That's the conversations that are constructive. It's not him yelling, it's him explaining his point of view and his side and his understanding of the way politics works. He's explaining it. That's something I haven't seen before. So I'm open-minded to listen to what he has to say and have those conversations. But whenever you guys are rude and hateful people don't tend to listen to you. So please go check out his video. He's a great example of how people should talk to each other. One last thing I wanted to add, if you guys are sticking around here to see my failure, it's not going to happen. I know you guys, a lot of you are wishing for it, but I have definitely sat down, ran some numbers on it. I figured out how we are going to overcome the obstacles that we have faced due to these executive orders being signed and the IRA funds being frozen. I will make it work. It will be a financial struggle for me for a while, but I will make it work. I will not lose this farm. So if you're sticking around for failure, it's not going to happen. Sorry to disappoint you, I guess, but I hope you do stick around and we have those constructive conversations. You guys have a good one. I believe her name is Aquisha, and if I butchered that, I apologize. But she says the biggest question for me is, would you still be open if you weren't affected? Because that's why I vote the way I do, not to self preserve, but for the greater good of everyone. A couple hours ago, I had a journalist from the New York Times that I had recently done an interview with reach out to me and let me know that there was a federal court that deemed the executive orders that Trump signed freezing the IRA funds was unlawful and they would have to unfreeze those funds. So right now, I'm no longer affected, but I'm still here and I'm still listening to you guys. I still want to hear all of your guys' stories. But I'm not going to lie to you. I wouldn't have had these conversations if it wouldn't have affected me. It just wouldn't have happened, and that's wrong. But this is eye opening to me, and there's a lot of people that it opened their eyes. And I hope you guys take advantage of the opportunity that's here in front of us. There's a lot of people that are willing to listen to you now. As long as we have these engaged conversations where we're actively listening, we're actively talking to each other, we're hearing both sides of what's going on, this is where change happens. I have had many conversations in my messages with people of all diverse backgrounds that belong to the LGBTQ community. That's a group that I've never listened to before because it didn't affect me. I'm hearing their stories. I'm hearing their perspectives on what's going on, and I'm listening to them. That's something I would not have done if this wouldn't have affected me. So now a lot of people's eyes are open because they got affected by this, and I hope everybody engages and hope everybody has those conversations. I am trying my very best to get back with everybody. I'm getting thousands of messages, and I am trying my very best to listen to everybody's perspective.
Y'all know what's funny? What is hilarious to me? My Leopards News Network segments are literally the only way for me to really deliver news and actually get eyeballs on the news. So it looks like I'm going to have to deliver everything with some Leopard or any of the other fill in cast members just so I can get all of this news delivered. Anyways, let me know what you think about all of this. Join the conversation. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. Help me push this into the algorithm.